Hello, everybody. My name is Nuria Torres. I'm a professor at the University of Almeria, and I would like to give or to say thank you to the organization before starting. Thank you very much for accepting my paper. Well, I'm going to share some um, slides, okay, some PowerPoint presentation. In here, you can see that the title of this paper is Notes to Self by Emilie Pine, a feminist and psychological exploration through essays. Well, as an introduction, because I would like to very briefly introduce this woman writer and the work we are going to talk about, we say that Emilie Pine is a young Irish woman writer, is maybe about around he's 45 years old approximately, and she won the prize known as the Book of the Year in the Irish Book Awards in 2018 with the publication of her own story throughout six essays entitled Notes to Self. This masterpiece has become a bestseller with which many women, especially the Irish ones, see themselves reflected in some of the topics, some considered taboos in Ireland, that Emilie Pine talks about in the first person when she opens deeply herself in order to deal with her own experiences with alcoholism, um, sexual violence, infertility, abortion, and inequality in the labor field. This author claims that she wrote these essays as a way of surpassing the painful moments she has lived since her childhood, but she didn't know that her work would end to be a self-help book for many people, women in special, who make face to the same type of situations. In this paper, an analysis of Pine's essays, some of them, well, concretely five of them, will be presented, being one of the main objectives to understand the situation of the Irish woman in society through the experiences of a woman who has experienced real problems like the ones shown above. In her writing, she exposes the typical things that most women suffer only because they are women, giving her personal vision of taboo topics and offering visibility to their traumas and silences. So many connotations about the different episodes in Pine's life described in Notes to Self will be exposed in a way the reader will be able to understand her personal fights in life to beat her fears. Well, very briefly, I'm going just to make some comments regarding all these five essays I have analyzed. And I said briefly because obviously I don't have time enough, but you will find the whole text in the publication when this conference finishes. Well, regarding the analysis of the first essay, this one is entitled Notes on Temperance. Okay, and in here, Pine begins by telling the story of how she and her sister were dealing with different problems because of the alcoholism of their father. The topic of alcoholism in Irish society is considered quite a serious problem, and it is for this reason that Emilie Pine, dedicates a small part of this essay to write on this topic, shining a light on the harsh reality of alcoholism in Ireland, and she does so in a sensitive manner through her own personal experiences with an alcoholic father. I'm going to quote Pine. In here, she says, "When I was 10 years old, Dad left us in a pub. He was angry because I hadn't stopped my 5-year-old sister from pouring her orange squash into his gin and tonic. He drove away and he didn't come back for us. We found someone else to give us dinner. We found someone else to drive us home. As you can see, Pine brings to light this difficult time in her life and relates this in detail because she wants to open the reader's eyes to the fact that alcoholism is also affecting the younger generations in Ireland. There is a stereotyping of Ireland as a country with an excessive conception of alcohol, which can even affect how other nationalities view them. For example, Epoch, the historian Epoch says that, or tell us of how a young Irish woman was denied the job just for being Irish. Katie Mulrennan had worked, I quote, I'm quoting. Katie Mulrennan had worked for years as an English teacher in different parts of the world. Yet recently, when she applied for a teaching position in South Korea, was turned away due to the alcoholic nature of people from the Republic of Ireland. Like Pine, she is the daughter of an alcoholic, and like many other young people who are in the same situation. This is reflected also in Ferriter's article, in which public health reformists and moral crusaders linked alcohol abuse to a series of tragedies, one of them being the loss of childhood. Um, this last mentioned by Ferriter perfectly defines one of the Pine's phrases from her essay collection, in which she says, and I quote Pine, like all children of heavy drinkers, we developed a particular kind of watchfulness. We learn through experience not to trust. Here, Pine insinuates that children of alcoholic parents become accustomed to not having a positive father or mother figure that looks out for and cares for them. So, and so they begin looking after themselves, therefore losing even their childhood. Um, in both the two following essays, Notes of Bleeding and Other Crimes, and also the third one entitled Something About Me, cover the period from Pine's puberty, where she talks about the experience of menstruation up to the end of her teen years. The former deals with the taboo subject that with the passing of time has become more tolerated, but taking into account the decade that Pine lived was a much more complicated topic. Um, Something About Me speaks of weightier subjects such as a drug addiction and sexual abuse. This third essay reflects and explains to some extent Pine's rebellious teens as consequence of her father's alcoholism and her parents' divorce. In regards to connection between these essays, it must be said that the principal elements they have in common is the fact that a few decades ago in Ireland, be it due to the influence of the Catholic Church or be it the conservative society, there was insufficient information on sexuality, especially for women. And regarding the following, because I have to sum up everything because I don't have time enough. Regarding the say entitled from the baby years, um, Pine in here explores the painful experience of trying to become a biological mother. Pine spent years of her life suffering because she wasn't able to conceive a child. and fulfill her role as a mother, expected expected of a woman during her life, known as maternal instinct, we can say. And well, obviously, this is a period for her characterized um, through the painful moments that she, and also not only her but also her partner suffer, because they were just thinking of being parents. And obviously, this was a little bit traumatic because she couldn't get to be pregnant while she suffers an abortion. And throughout this essay, entitled From the Baby Years, and as I said before, she is explaining all this process and different kind of emotions to the reader in a very honest way. Well, to finish up this analysis on notes to self, I'm going just to say something very briefly about the last of the Pines essays, entitled "This is not on the exam," which deals with the most recent years of her life, speaking about her position in the workplace. The author describes how, on various or several occasions, she was spoken to with disdain, and how she was passed over in favor of their colleagues, just because she was young and female, um, as Pine quote. This is yet another example that the fact that if you are a woman, often means being judged on your appearance instead of your intelligence. And I quote Pine. She says, "Women are supposed to be likable. Women are judged when they are not likable enough. But being likable, for all its social desirability, held us back at work. Men didn't need to bother about being likable because they were too busy being powerful." So, to conclude with this analysis, we must highlight what the author is trying to say with this essay, which is to stress that sexism against women exists in the workplace, and critiquing the unfair treatment that is alive and well in many different professions. And well, that has been all. Just I would like to tell you that if you need any clarification, or if you've got any question for me, please feel free to write to the email that you can see in this slide. Okay. Well, so thank you very much. Thank you very much for your attention.